Okay, so welcome to Homeschool House Calls. I am Devin. I am the admin in your group. If you're on Facebook and you're finding this through Facebook, I'm the admin in your group. We actually have three groups: How Do I Homeschool? Um, the Homeschool Mom Self Care Plan, and Homeschooling and the Working Mom. I am your admin. I'm the content creator for Homeschool House Calls. You can find most of our old videos on the YouTube channel. That's where I put them. I no longer put them into the group and store them there. If you find anything older, it's going to be eventually removed. It'll all be on the YouTube channel so that you can find it. But I tried to start this earlier and it got really glitchy, and I've switched that over. Hopefully, it will work a little bit better. So let me go over what I went over first when I first started, and then we'll get back to talking about my kids. So let's find it down here. Okay, so here's our topic tonight. We're talking about how do I teach my preteen and teen to schedule and manage their time. This is one of the things that people ask, where they want to maybe have them manage their own curriculum. And there's an art to it. It takes a lot of time, and I think it starts before preteens, but there's never too late to start it. Never too late. But let's go through these again real quick, and then I'll tell you what I did with mine. So here's some things to remember that I wish someone had told me. Number one, preteens and teens are still children. They're not many adults. They're not adult. I mean, people like to say adult in training, and yeah, maybe, but not really. Remind yourself 10,000 times a day that big 6-foot kid in his room is still a kid, and they are not adults yet. In fact, even my 20-year-old who's in college is only now beginning to kind of remind me of an adult. So make yourself relax. It's okay. They're going to make mistakes, but go into it knowing they're kids, and it takes time to learn anything. They do not naturally know how to schedule. Very few. There might be some with some characters. I have a few that are more likely to be. They manage their self better than others. I have 5 kids. They're 20, 18, 15, 13, and 6, and so each one's different. They all have their different natural abilities, but it's not natural. Really, one of my kids likes to say everybody's lazy. Nobody really wants to do anything. We just have to when we get older and we have responsibility, right? Do not expect them to do what you don't do. It's kind of one of those things where you'll be doing something you don't want to. We all hear that. Don't tell your kid you can't do this or you can't do that when you're doing it. Show by example. If you're not scheduling, you need to let them actively see your scheduling. A lot of times, even now, it's like even as simple as filling out doctor's forms. I'm handing my kids the tablets and letting them handle the doctor's forms. Then I'm overseeing, make sure that all the information is correct, because no one did that with me. I think the first time I went to the doctor by myself, I was 18, and I had no clue of what to do. Luckily, it was a doctor I'd been to before. But just know that you have to walk through the process, and it's not a one-day thing. It's not a one-year thing. You're teaching them to go into the workforce. That's how I handle it. So anyway, take time. Remember, it takes time. Everybody makes mistakes. It's a learning process. I've already said that. And finally, when you're teaching your children to schedule, it means that there will be bumps, mistakes, and failures. I was an uptight young mama, and I expected way too much of my kids way before they could do it. And I wish someone had told me those things when I started way back in the day. But there are some things I think I did right, even though I wish I had relaxed a little bit and kind of relaxed into the process. I think it would have made it more joyful and more fun. But I can't go backwards. I can only go forwards. So what do I do with mine? What have I done with mine to teach them scheduling? The first thing I did was when they were young, before they were preteens, I made them all checklists. They all had a checklist. It was always put in, I would update it every week. It was always put into a page protector so that they could write off with it with like wet erase or dry erase markers. And every time, even though I was teaching them and I was teaching all their classes, they learned the joy of scratching those things off their to-do list so that they saw when they were finished. Now, I didn't let them pick in what order they did anything because I had 4 at that time and I was the main one teaching them, and they all needed me, so I had to be in control a little bit. Now, as we move forward, and that checklist, I don't need to repeat this. On that checklist, I had their chores. I would have a little nugget if we were leaving the house for the week where they knew that we were going out of the house. They had their math assignment, their English assignment, history, science, piano, every little thing that they had going on, they would have on that checklist. And we hung them on the fridge, and they loved running there and checking it off. As time went on, for chores, I used Time for Learning. It's called not Time for Learning. It's called Zone Cleaning for Kids. It's by Trigger Memory System, and it's like a checklist. And they've laminated it, and we use it now. Even now, if I feel like a kid is slacking in their chores, I will pull it out and say, "Hey, you need to review what I want done." So this like kind of removed me as the middleman. I wasn't having to go and stand over them. Now, when you're teaching them chores, you do kind of have to show them how to do it. And you may have to show them more than once. And you have to remember they're kids and they're going to fudge. Even now, my teens and my adult kids like to fudge. And I have to go, "Hey, remember this is what is supposed to be done in this area." All the kids have their zones that they do. And they kind of negotiate, trade them out. Like Cole used to do the dishes in the kitchen, and I would help with the rest of the kitchen. And he traded out with someone else because his school schedules changed, and he needed something that took less time. So he found, Gabriella traded with him, and I help her and, do the extra stuff. She doesn't have to do the whole kitchen every day. Her main job is to just the dishes and keeping them running through the dishwasher, which is a big job. But she does it with a happy heart, and she likes to turn on her music and listen to it. So anyway, she does that. So anyway, so they had that checklist. Now, eventually we got techie, and we use Milanote. Well, now we don't. We're getting ready to move to something else, I think. I'm not sure. We changed things up here. They were not online. Now they're online, so I don't quite need it. But we would have it set in Milanote. Now, what we do, even now, what we do is I have their checklist we started out with checklists. In the beginning, I would check every night and make sure they finished everything. And that's when they started managing their school schedule. They knew exactly what I wanted done that day, but they chose what order it is. And so at night, I would check it because teens are teens, preteens are preteens. The internet is very seductive. And next thing you know, you have not finished everything. So every night I would check. Now, what happens is if they don't complete it, everything has to be completed by Friday. I started off by checking every night, and then I started spacing out as they got older and got more responsible. Now, if everything's not done by Friday night, they lose all privileges. That means there's no TV binge watching on Saturday. There's no fun time on Saturday. Any special treat that might happen is gone on Saturday, and they have to finish their work on the weekend because Monday is fresh. And that's how a business is. If I'm working in an office and I'm given a deadline for something, they are not going, I'm going to have to work late hours if I slack off, right? They might give, they'll give me they're not going to stand over me and tell me what to do. Now, what happens is in the beginning, when you do this, they may mess up and fail a test or not do the work. And you have to stand on the consequences. And that is how they learn to schedule. Is it easy? No. As mamas, we want to fix the problem and make it easy and give them extra chances. So my extra chances were they had to finish it on the weekend. so that it was fresh on Monday and we could start from scratch for whatever we had to do. Because it's the same with thing for us. If we're getting something ready, like taxes is coming up, if we're gathering our stuff for taxes and we don't meet that deadline, we're in trouble. And that's how life is. So it starts, you have to be very realistic in the beginning and realize they are going to fail, and that's okay because they're learning consequences. So that's what we do. So what do we do now? That started way back in the day, like middle school. Now we have a business meeting on Sunday afternoon. But it has traditionally been only my students, but I think my college students are going to come back. We noticed something, Juliana's now in college, and we noticed something that she's not knowing what's going on. So she doesn't know when she can use the car, and that we need that connection as a family. So she said something the other day about coming back to the business meeting. So at the business meeting, they have their calendars. They have, I get academic calendars, which goes by the school schedule. It starts like in July and goes through June. We go to that thing. I tell them everything that we're going out of the house for: field trips, doctor's appointments, my schedule. Now, in the past, I have thought about syncing our Google schedules, but mine is so crazy and so full. I would not want to dump that onto their schedule. It would be better for their schedule to be dumped on mine. But so they have a paper one. It just works better. It was just trying to decide what was best and what would work. So they take then they write out anything school wise that I have deadlines for. Now, my teens are now completely online. So their online platform sets the deadlines. I keep track of that. I don't keep track of what they have in my book. They have it on theirs and they know what's going on. But this way we keep on track. They know they have to work ahead because we do not get forgiven for school. The amount of school does not change if we've got field trips or doctor's appointments. They have to work around. And that's the same thing in the business world. If you have other things pop up, you're going to have to work around. Is this easy? No. I'm like, it's not something they're going to use. You may have one kid that's really great with scheduling. They love that kind of stuff. They keep walking in and peeking at me. They may work great. And then you may have one like my son that it just took a while. It's just now beginning to get easier. And but the thing is, I thought he wasn't paying attention. And then the first year of college, I went into his room and he had sticky notes across the wall where he had plotted out his whole semester and all his deadlines. So it actually stuck, even though he wouldn't do it for me. But if you have questions, let me know. I see you watching. I know you're watching. I don't see you. Okay. I always have to say, I cannot see inside your camera, but I can see there's a little eyeball on my screen and it shows how many people's watching. So it's kind of doesn't show me you. I'm like, that would be creepy. Wouldn't that be creepy? Thank goodness it doesn't do that. Well, I've heard stories, but I don't do that. I am not that techie. Anyway, but I know that there are some people watching. So that is how I schedule. I hope it is helpful. If you have questions, you can put them in the comments and let me know. I can always revisit this subject and talk more about it. It helps when I have questions. We can do a part 2, easy peasy. Remember, since I'm wrapping up, remember that you can still join the Phonics Club if you have beginning readers in your house. We're working on that. We're actually beginning to load the first step. We have them in steps, like step 1, step 2, step 3. We're starting to load step 1 now. I'm thinking maybe I don't even want to say mid-February. By the end of February, step 1 will be in there, and I will send out notices letting you know that it's ready to log into. And then we'll start adding the next step. And it's just a process, and it's a fun process. I'm enjoying it. I wish I had thought about it when I started teaching Lacey to read 2 years ago. I wish I had, but I didn't. But anyway, let me know what questions you have. Let me know what topics you want to do. That's how I taught my kids to schedule. If there's something you want clarification on, let me know. I'll do a part 2 and we'll answer questions and talk more about teaching them to schedule. It is really fun, but it really helps when we teach ourselves. I might go into more how I schedule my day and how they fit into that. Maybe I'll do that maybe next week or the next week. I'm not sure. We'll look and see. Maybe next week. I'll look and see if I've got something already scheduled. If not, then we'll do a part 2 and I'll talk about how I schedule my day and how they fit into that. But and if you go on the YouTube channel, I even think I have a video of one of our business meetings. I might redo that and reset it up where you can see the kids. You couldn't see them when I did that, so that you might not be able to hear them talking. But maybe we'll re-video that and put that on there so that you can see how we run it and what we do. We kind of make it nice, kind of sit up on the bed together. We all have our stuff. Takes maybe 10 minutes, not anything extravagant, no big PowerPoint, but we just go over what's going on and they can remind me and I can remind them and then we go from there. But I enjoy hanging out with y'all. I will see y'all soon. Let me know what you want to hear. We've got 2 or 3. I know we've got 2 or 3 subjects coming up. If there's something new, if you want a part 2 and let me show you how I schedule my day, we'll go from there and it'll be a lot of fun. Bye, guys.